Trump gets a very unforgettable reaction from the Libertarian Party. Happy Memorial Weekend, you guys. Hope you guys are doing very well. So President Joe Biden's latest commencement speech at West Point, let's just say it's kind of stirred up some controversy as he repeated a very questionable claim about being appointed to the Naval Academy, leaving a lot of skeptics kind of scratching their heads and wondering about the truth here. Meanwhile, New York Attorney General Letitia James, known for her massive $454 million lawsuit with Judge Arthur Engoron against Donald Trump, has made headlines again with a staggering $2 billion settlement against a major cryptocurrency company. In fact, multiple cryptocurrency companies. And basically, she continues her crusade for industry regulation. I think that's what they're calling it these days. Now, adding to the political drama, multiple news outlets are now reporting that former President Donald Trump, showcasing his resilience and unwavering commitment, faced an unexpected wave of boos at the Libertarian Party convention, kind of underscoring the volatile landscape of the 2024 presidential elections. Now, before we really get into this, guys, all I ask is that you take 1 second, hit the like button for me. Totally appreciate the support, you guys. Already see Scott Hill in here, Carol McCarty, Catalia, what's going on, girly? Blue Moon, John Heald. We got Lester, awesome. Nana's Crochet Corner, never misses a show. Appreciate the support, you guys. Also, consider subscribing to the channel. We'd love to have you a part of the community. And let's go ahead and get started. So President Joe Biden, he's been accused of repeating a false claim that he was appointed to the Naval Academy in 1965. Now, this happened during the commencement speech at Military Academy at West Point in New York, where he spoke to over 1,000 cadets. In his speech, President Joe Biden, he told the graduates, hey, I was appointed by a fella I ran against when I was 29 years old at the Navy Academy. I was one of 10. I wanted to play football. The day I was supposed to go down to the interview, a classmate of mine who's also one of 10 appointed to be chosen from, he came to me. I found out 2 days earlier that they had picked a quarterback named Roger Staubach and a halfback named Joe Bellino. I said, oh, well, I ain't going there. So I went to Delaware. So this came from Joe Biden. And now this is not the first time that Joe Biden has made this claim. In fact, he said the same thing while addressing graduates in the U.S. Naval Academy in 2022, where Joe Biden mentioned that Delaware Senator J. Caleb Boggs, who he ran against in 1972, had tried to get him into the Naval Academy 7 years earlier. Now, the New York Post reported that curators of the Delaware Historical Association, they went through their archives to verify Biden's claim. Because a lot of people were like, that story sounds a little bit sketchy, Mr. Biden. So they did a little research. Chief curator Lee Riefenberg said that the claim was unlikely. Okay, that's a nice way of putting it. So Riefenberg explained, quote, our staff devoted a large chunk of last week to this project. We hauled and sorted through a dozen different boxes from the relevant years, which proved to be a needle in a haystack proposition, as we feared. To be safe, we searched through the full range of dates from 1960 to 1965. Now, it does seem extraordinarily unlikely that an appointment would have been made in 1965, given President's years of matriculation at the University of Delaware, but we wanted to be thorough. We were unable to find appointments for entry in 1961, 1963, 1964, or 1965, end quote. Now, during the same speech on Saturday, just yesterday, President Joe Biden stumbled through a sentence when talking about Putin and NATO. After clips of Joe Biden fumbling through his words and mentioning the Naval Academy appeared on social media, he feared criticism online. And one person even posted, keep him home, Jill. You're embarrassing your husband, allowing vulnerabilities in America and revealing the wife you are not. Pathetic behavior. Ooh, man, the rough crowd today, huh? So another comment said on Twitter, another day, another lie from Biden. When will the left Stop making excuses for this man's blatant dishonesty. And a third person posted this comment saying, did anybody have Biden says he was appointed to the Naval Academy on their bingo card? So clearly, definitely some jokesters, definitely not necessarily big fans of Biden, tired of Biden's lies, tired of the corruption and dishonesty. And I think that at this point, most voters at this point really just kind of want accountability. What do y'all think? Let me know what you think, guys. Now, despite all of these gaffes, President Joe Biden, he used his speech to emphasize the critical role of the United States support to allies around the world, including Israel, Ukraine, and of course, the Indo-Pacific. He described American shoulders. He described American soldiers as working around the clock to support Ukraine in its effort to repel a 2-year-long Russian invasion, but reiterated his commitment to keeping them off the front lines. Quote, we're standing strong with the Ukraine and we will stand strong with them, end quote. So this is what Biden told the crowd, which of course they responded with applause. Now, he also highlighted the United States' role in repelling Iranian missile attacks against Israel and supporting allies in the Indo-Pacific region against increasing Chinese militarism in the region. He said, quote, thanks to the United States Armed Forces, we're doing what only America can do as the indispensable nation that we are and the world's only superpower, end quote. So this came from President Joe Biden. Now, this was the first time, believe it or not, President Joe Biden addressed a graduating class at West Point as president, although he has twice addressed the cadets as vice president. Now, Donald Trump, though, Biden's Republican challenger in the 2024 presidential elections in a few months, he was the last president to speak at the West Point commencement in 2020. Now, Letitia James, we all know Letitia James. Not a lot of people, necessarily like her. Well, if you don't like Donald Trump, you probably like Letitia James. But if you do like Donald Trump, you probably hate Letitia James. Where do y'all stand? Anyway, Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, who filed a massive $454 million lawsuit against Donald Trump, which, by the way, had no victims. Count them, no victims, guys. Has recently issued a warning to cryptocurrency companies, urging them to play by the same rules as everyone else. I feel like these attorney generals, Letitia James, Fani Willis, they get up on their high horse and they want to say how no one's above the law, but yet they do some questionable things themselves that make you really wonder. Kind of makes you scratch your head at a minimum. Anyway, the warning comes on the heels of a major $2 billion settlement with cryptocurrency firms. So, yeah, she's coming after that money, guys. So just Monday, Letitia James announced that her office had reached a $2 billion settlement with cryptocurrency companies Genesis Global Capital, Genesis Asia Pacific PTE, and Genesis Global Holdco. The settlement aims to help investors, including nearly 30,000 New Yorkers, recover losses from alleged fraud by these businesses. So in this case, it sounds like there's actually some victims, unlike in Donald Trump's case, where they made up this, harebrained $500 million number and hit this private individual who just so happens to be Biden's primary rival in the 2024 presidential elections. Again, no victim there, right? But here we have apparently some victims in this case. Now, according to Letitia James, these companies hid more than $1 billion in losses from investors. That's not what Donald Trump did. Now, earlier this year, Letitia James expanded the case, alleging that Digital Currency Group and Genesis, along with their top executives, defrauded investors of $2 billion. As a part of the settlement, the companies involved are barred from operating in New York and must create a victims fund to provide some compensation to investors after creditors are paid. Anybody watching the show have any investments in any kind of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Dogecoin, anything like that, let me know, guys. And if you happen to have been defrauded, I'm going to share some information with you guys that you're going to want to know about. Maybe you can get some of that cash back. So Letitia James, she stated, quote, "When investors suffer losses because of fraud and manipulation, they deserve to be made whole. We see the real world consequences and detrimental losses that can happen because of a lack of oversight and regulation within the cryptocurrency industry. New York investors deserve the peace of mind that comes with a properly regulated marketplace." Letitia James's office emphasized that the recent settlement is a part of her ongoing efforts to increase oversight and regulation in the cryptocurrency industry and to protect New York investors. To date, her efforts have secured more than $2.5 billion from predatory cryptocurrency platforms. Now, this particular action follows Letitia James' proposed legislation from May 2023, almost a year ago to the date, which aimed to tighten regulations in the cryptocurrency industry. The bill seeks to increase transparency, eliminate conflicts of interest, and impose common sense measures to protect investors, similar to those that are imposed on other financial services. And it also requires independent public audits of cryptocurrency exchanges and prevents individuals from owning both brokerages and tokens in order to avoid conflicts of interest. How many times have we heard of conflicts of interest in many of Donald Trump's court trials, right? Double standard yet again. Anyway, in addition to warning the cryptocurrency companies, Letitia James is now urging New Yorkers affected by deceptive conduct in the cryptocurrency industry to report these issues to her office. She also encourages industry workers who have witnessed misconduct or fraud to file anonymous whistleblower complaints with her office. So Letitia James has been very, very busy with other significant legal battles as well. Obviously, earlier this year, New York Judge Arthur Engoron ruled that Donald Trump must pay $455 million plus interest due to alleged fraud. Now, of course, Alina Habba was able to get the $455 million bond reduced down to $175 million, for which Donald Trump came up with the cash, made a transfer or whatnot over into a Charles Schwab account to hold that money. And that satisfied that bond for now. Now, in this case, Letitia James was the prosecutor. Judge Arthur Engoron's decisions really just kind of highlight the severity of the fraud allegations against Donald Trump. And it really just kind of underscores Letitia James's ongoing commitment to holding powerful individuals and entities accountable. Mind you, there's no victims here. Anyway, so the ruling of Judge Arthur Engoron against Donald Trump, it really serves as a stark reminder that Letitia James, she is hell-bent on enforcing the law and protecting investors and the public from fraudulent activities. Oh, thank you so much, Letitia James. You've saved me from Donald Trump, said no one ever. Now, unfortunately, Donald Trump, in his case, it was clearly more about using lawfare to personally attack Donald Trump rather than actually protecting victims from fraud. Nobody lost money doing business with Donald Trump. Even Deutsche Bank, one of the largest companies, one of the largest banks in the freaking world, vouched for Donald Trump after having done business with him in New York, saying, hey, we're good. We're not coming after him. We're happy. We made money. He paid us back. Now, as Letitia James continues her ongoing efforts, including the recent cryptocurrency settlement, it's very clear that both she and Judge Arthur Engoron are essentially they're key figures in ensuring justice is served, whether it involves large financial settlements or high-profile cases like that of Donald Trump. But Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, she vows to appeal this decision by Judge Arthur Engoron and get Donald Trump's money back. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. Who was that? Kenneth Thompson says that too male, too pale, too stale. That's what what's her name? Letitia James had campaigned on. too male, too pale, too stale. So she's offending everyone and definitely, hitting some HR issues by most people's account. Yeah. So anyway, former President Donald Trump faced a challenging crowd at the Libertarian Party's national convention yesterday on Saturday. I don't know how many of you guys caught that one, but according to a number of left-leaning news outlets, the latest news after this, particular shindig took place, after Donald Trump took stage, he was met with loud and consistent boos. Can any of you guys confirm that? Was it really as bad as what they're saying? Y'all let me know if you happen to have caught that particular speech. So anyway, this reaction continued throughout his speech, especially when he urged attendees to nominate me or at least vote for me. Now, despite the boos, some of Donald Trump's supporters tried to counter the negativity with chants of, "We want Trump! We want Trump!" However, the heckling, it persisted. During his speech, Donald Trump emphasized the importance of libertarians supporting him, saying, "Now, I think you should nominate me or at least vote for me, and we should win together." He further added, "Because the libertarians want to vote for me, and it's very important because we have to get rid of the worst president in history." End quote. Now, let me ask you guys, is President Joe Biden the worst president in history like Donald Trump says he is? Y'all let me know what you think. How's he doing? I know according to the CNN presidential polls, Biden is not looking too good, and the polls are not in his favor right now. Catalia says, yes, I watched that and also watched Vivek do his thing. That's right. Vivek. Oh my God. I can never pronounce his last name. Them libertarian gatherings are hyped. Appreciate your feedback, Catalia. So, yeah, I did actually catch a couple of clips and I actually heard the boos. Definitely a rough crowd that day. Definitely a rough crowd. Donald Trump's speech was one of the shortest campaign addresses, lasting only 34 minutes. The brief appearance marked an unconventional move for a presumptive Republican nominee, reflecting Donald Trump's increasing concern over third-party candidates, according to CNN. His outreach to the Libertarian Party came after weeks of intensified attacks on Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an independent candidate whose campaign is seen as a potential threat in a tight election. But honestly, based on, looking at multiple news sources, it actually looks like Donald Trump could actually increase his lead once Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is eliminated. Not to say it's guaranteed he's going to be eliminated, but, just looking at the poll so far, I think RFK Jr.'s got something like 17% of the 17% of the votes. Donald Trump and Biden have the remainder. So he's got a very small minority. I mean, he's doing well in the election. Don't get me wrong. He really is. But as an independent, typically the independents, the libertarians that run for presidential elections, they always, with rare exception, they typically get, I hate to use absolutes like always, but they typically will get a minority share of the votes. But Vivek Ramaswamy, thank you. Someone just typed it in the chat and it was like, the way you spelled it made it easier to say. Wheelam 03, thank you so much. Don O, Ramaswamy, thank you. Appreciate you. It's like, I see the characters and my mind just starts smoking and I say something stupid. Anyway, so Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had spoken at the convention on Friday and was nominated by a delegate on Sunday. However, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination was met with boos, and he was quickly eliminated after receiving support from only 19 delegates, which accounted for just 2.7 or 2.07% of the total delegates. Donald Trump was also nominated on the convention floor, but Libertarian Party Chair Angela McArdle ruled him ineligible because he apparently didn't submit the necessary paperwork. Yeah, that's what they're saying. And Donald Trump later posted on Truth Social explaining, hey, look, the reason I didn't file this paperwork for the Libertarian nomination, which I would absolutely have gotten if I wanted it, as everyone could tell by the enthusiasm of the crowd last night, was the fact that the Republican nominee, as the Republican nominee, I am not allowed to have the nomination of another party, end quote. So this is Donald Trump's defense to that argument. And so now at least we have heard from both sides on that one. Trump expressed confidence that he would still receive significant support from Libertarian voters. Now, inside of the Washington Hilton, the atmosphere was rather tense. Angela McArdle had a step in before Donald Trump's speech, asking Trump supporters to make a little room for the Libertarian delegates. She said, quote, I don't want to like fight with people or beg and plead. Let's just make room for the delegates because those are the people who you're trying to persuade, right? You're already sold. Our delegates are not sold, and President Trump is here to try to sell them, end quote. So makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. So this might account for, some of the lack of support from the booing and whatnot. Yeah. So Angela McArdle continued saying, quote, those of you who are Donald Trump supporters, I think what I'd like to see tonight is for us all to get along and come to an understanding and find areas of agreement, even if we don't necessarily agree to vote for the same person, end quote. Now, additionally, Secret Service agents, they were super busy confiscating rubber chickens that had been distributed by a super PAC aligned with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign. Can anybody explain the rubber chicken thing? Does anybody understand to get that? Like, why the rubber chickens? I'm just trying to understand that. An agent shouted to attendees, no lighters, no water bottles, no noisy chickens as they went through the security checkpoint. And so Donald Trump's attempt to garner support from the Libertarian Party was met with a little bit of resistance. Okay, tough crowd, jeez. But yeah, so this is where we are. So I guess you can't win them all, but I don't think Trump expected to win all of them. But if he can just at least get some of them, that is for sure a win in most people's books. Because again, just it's a libertarian group, it's not the Republican Party. It's not, a Trump rally per se. So yeah. By the way, if you guys haven't already, please hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell icon so you know when we go live and release new videos and content. Walter DeBro. Oh, you're welcome, sir. You are welcome. Let's see. Ron looks like one of my brothers. Appreciate it. No doubt. Donald Trump was invited and so was Biden. Biden never showed. Trump went to the Libertarian convention. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. The minute Donald Trump gets any kind of like remote negative press, the left-leaning news stations jump and just literally just jump on top of those news updates. But the thing is I would love to have seen the type of reception, just to compare and contrast the type of reception Joe Biden would have gotten if he showed up. What do y'all think would have happened if Biden showed up? Would he have been receiving a warm welcome, cheering and whatnot? Or do you think Biden would have gotten just the same amount of boos or maybe more boos if he showed up? Let me know what y'all think on that one. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I wanted to just drop that quick update. I want to be respectful of your time. If you haven't already, please hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel, look forward to future updates from me, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye.